We want to travel in history. At a time when football had not yet seen big stars like Maradona, Pelé, Messi and Ronaldo. When we did not have today's great football. And maybe this was the beginning of the story. In 1930, the first World Cup in the history of football was held in Uruguay. 13 teams from 3 continents introduced the world's first champion in the history of the World Cup in 17 days. This was the only World Cup period for which qualifiers were not held. All FIFA member countries were invited to this tournament, but many of them rejected this invitation due to the distance and difficulty of traveling at that time. Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Peru and Chile teams from South America. America and Mexico from North America and Belgium, Romania, France and Yugoslavia from Europe were the participating teams in this World Cup. Argentina, Chile, France and Mexico were present in the first group, and finally, Argentina advanced to the semi-finals as the first team from this group. In the game between France and Chile, the first penalty of the World Cup was taken. The final game of the group between Argentina and Chile was so violent that it forced the police to enter the field before the end of the first half to calm the atmosphere. The second group included Brazil, Bolivia and Yugoslavia. Brazil was expected to advance from this group, but it was Yugoslavia who qualified for the semi-finals. In the third group, host Uruguay was paired with Peru and Romania. In the first game of this group, Plácido Galindo of Peru received the first red card of the World Cup, while this game holds the record for the lowest number of spectators in the World Cup with 300 spectators. Uruguay hosted the promoted team from this group. The fourth group included Belgium, Paraguay and the United States. The American team, which was the surprise of this group, became known as the Shot Putters. The first hat trick of the World Cup was scored by Bert Patenaude from the USA against Paraguay, and finally the USA easily advanced from this group. In the semi-finals, Argentina defeated the United States 6-1, and Uruguay won 6-1 against Yugoslavia to set up a final between Argentina and Uruguay. Naturally, the final game of the first round of the World Cup cannot be an ordinary game and has many sensitivities. The 10 boats intended to transport Argentine fans from Buenos Aires to Montevideo were insufficient, and an estimated 10,000 to 15,000 Argentines traveled to Uruguay to watch the final, many of whom had not even reached land when the game kicked off. The Belgian referee of the match, John Langenis, stipulated that within an hour after the final whistle, a boat would be ready in the port, so that he could use it if he needed to escape. The strange thing about this game was the difference between the two teams over the preparation of the game ball, and with FIFA's intervention, the game was decided to be played with Argentina's ball in the first half and Uruguay's ball in the second half. On July 30, 1930, 98,000 spectators at the Centenario Stadium waited for the first FIFA World Cup final to begin. In the first half, Argentina went to the locker room with a score of 2-1. But in the second half, the game turned around and it was Uruguay who was able to become the first champion of the World Cup with a result 4-2. The next day, a national holiday was declared in Uruguay, in Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires. A group threw stones at the Uruguayan consulate. Argentina's forward Francisco Varallo in the final was the last living player of this competition. He died on August 30, 2010. The total number of games played in this cup was 18. 547,308 people watched these games closely. The top scorer was Guillermo Stable, the striker from Argentina with 8 goals. The best offensive line of the games was the Argentina team with 18 goals and the best defensive line belonged to the Uruguay team with 3 goals. The first World Cup is over, but it was just the beginning, the start of the most exciting sports tournament in the world. Soon we will check the statistics of the rest of the World Cups on the Final Match channel. If you want not to miss our videos, subscribe to our channel.